OG, listen. What you got going on, OG? Tell them what we do.
I just came in from checking traps, baby. You gotta excuse me. I'm a little inebriated, a little intoxicated, but I'm always elevated. Hey, listen, I hear him talking all this nonsense on here already. It's all about the quality time you spend with your dad. It ain't about the money. A lot of y'all daddies was broke and he ain't spend no time with y'all. I don't want to hear about that bullshit. Let me tell you something. Nick Cannon is doing what it says in the scripture. It's about being fruitful and multiplying. He got the money to support these kids, and he should be having as many kids as possible. When you see the great men throughout history, whether it was King Solomon, whether it was King David, they had numerous wives, they had numerous concubines, and they sired many, many children. When you're a great man, you're supposed to be fruitful and multiply so your seed can live on and your lineage can live on. Straight up.
Miss Tyree, you don't. One second, OG. Miss Tyree, you don't have to care about having kids. You can come on here. You about to hear the questions I ask him. All y'all are about to hear the questions I'm about to ask him. So when he's done answering the questions, if y'all want to come up here and speak to this, y'all can come up here and speak to this. You don't have to have kids or care about
Listen,
having kids.
the game ain't dead. Most of the people just scared. Cam up, come on in here and
They
talk some game
stay
with us.
they
This the
stay
best show on TikTok. Get on here and spit some game with me and Nova. What's wrong with y'all?
they stay being scared. Anyways,
Listen,
OG, this is the first question. How excuse me, I'm a little sick, y'all. When I'm coughing, excuse me.
what's wrong with
How did you feel about Nick Cannon having all these kids by different women before knowing like a ball range of his annual earnings? And how do you feel about him now? Has your opinion changed?
Well, of course, my opinion hasn't changed. You know, the man is a celebrity. You know, the man has the wealth in order to support these kids. The man was with Mariah Carey. His first two twins was by Mariah Carey. So you know the brother is maintaining and he's doing his thing. I don't have a problem with what he's doing personally. It's a lot of brothers that's out here that can't maintain multiple women and multiple families and are siring children by multiple women. So how can it be a drawback for Nick Cannon? And a lot of people that try to detract from it, they have multiple baby mamas and baby daddies, and they can't afford it. So how can you detract from a man who can afford it? Come on, there's a lot of haters out here. Straight up, like that. It's a lot of haters.
I agree with you. I mean, like you said, it's a bunch of people that can't even afford one.
Exactly.
They can't get one to get on their program. They can't take care of
And
one child.
and
And
right now you have a proliferation of people talking about this polygyny and this polygamy and all that, and it's all out of discourse. It's all in anarchy, because when it all comes down to the root of it, most of these dudes can't even support these kind of family structures anyway. These are traditional family structures that they're talking about endeavoring in, and the only thing most of these people have their mind on is fornicating from the waist down instead of procreating from the neck up, which these institutions are meant to do. You got these people out here now, they think everything's about sex. They think they're entitled to live a certain lifestyle, and that's not the case. You see this man, Nick Cannon, he's proved himself to be a high earner, and he wants to live his life the way he wants to live his life. So you can't detract from that. You know what I'm saying? If the man want to sire as many kids as he can by different women in order to carry on his lineage and his bloodline, then let him do so. I don't see where the hate comes from. There's a lot of people on here, a lot of women and a lot of dudes. Y'all baby mamas ain't got shit. Excuse my language. And y'all still got multiples. So how can you hate on that?
no, that's a fact. So the second I'm about to make a statement. I want you to tell me whether you agree with the statement or disagree with the statement and why. So the statement is a lot of women will gladly be a part of a rich man's harem of women than be the only woman for an average man.
in the pimp game, and you know I'm a veteran of the pimp game because you know I just came from out of checking traps, slamming pimping hoes and slamming Cadillac doors. When it come down to it, we used to have an old saying. Most women would rather ride in the back seat of a Cadillac than in the front seat of a Ford. And that's 100% true. A lot of women, they try to play like they want monogamy, but it's been revealed through Kevin Samuels podcast, through a myriad of other online personalities, that most women right now desire to be with a small group of men right now in society, around about 10%. So when you talking about women jockeying for position and trying to garner the attention of these 10% of men, a lot of these women don't have a problem with being a constituent in a harem or whatever you want to call it for these gentlemen.
I,
That's
I
what they would rather be.
I 100% agree with you. So you're a father yourself. Um, what do you think is more important for a child? Have the child having everything they need and being provided for, or having an emotional, loving connection with their parents? So like that time spent. What do
Both,
you think is
both,
most important?
both, but that's with a caveat because men have been lied to recently to the fact that they need to always be around, they need to always be nurturing and babying these kids, this and that. That is not the man's place. A man's place is to provide for his family. So it's not the amount of time that a man spends with his children, it's the quality of time that a man spends with his children and the knowledge that he instills and the quality of that knowledge he instills in his children in the time that he does spend with his children. A man is supposed to be out grinding, getting it. When I used to be young and I used to work under a dude and he used to drop so many jewels on me. Like the kids would get sick, and you know you see guys, you know, I'm gonna tell on myself and give you my age now. Back when I first started working, it was cell phones, but the proliferation of cell phones hadn't really taken off. You would get a phone up in the office, and the lady in the office would come pin a note up on the board for you, and one of the old ladies, the nose ass old ladies, will read your note and come tell you you got a note on the board. So you'll get the note, and one of your kids will be sick or whatever, and you'll go to my boss, and my boss would tell you, you ain't a doctor. What you gonna do? That baby got a fever and gotta go to the doctor. That's what the mama at home with the baby for. Your ass need to be here at work, working to pay for that insurance and to pay for that co-payment when that baby be at that doctor. See, you done got a lot of this confusion going on and the twisting of the gender roles where people think men have to be around and be as nurturing to children as women. Men don't have the genes that women have and the innate ability to be able to nurture like women do. Our primary function is to provide sustenance and to provide leadership and guidance in the home. It's not to be around nurturing. But when we do show up, the time we show up has to be has to be quality time, and you have to have knowledge to instill in your kids in the time that you do spend with them, and that's what makes it valuable. A lot of dudes just don't have no kind of knowledge to convey to anyone, a woman or a child, and that's where the breakdown comes from, where nobody wants to follow dudes now. It's a lot of dudes that shouldn't be followed because they don't have the knowledge for people to follow.
It's so interesting that you say that because in this article, that's exactly what Nick Cannon said.
Mhm.
He said I feel some sort of way that I can't be with them as much as I want to be with them, but he said what I do to compensate for that is when I am with them, I just make sure it's quality time spent. That's
Bro,
literally what he said in the article.
let me explain something to you. Nick Cannon could have a million kids, and every one of those 1 million kids, in a lot of instances, will have a better upbringing than a child of a man who only has one kid because he has the resources. He has so much at his fingertips that he can offer these kids, even in his absence. You're talking about the best private schools. You're talking about the best nannies. You're talking about the best teachers, the best resources. I mean, the top of the line technology, it is what it is.